Hi, welcome to this quick video about the production of one of my latest tracks that just came out, Crystalline Symphony. My name's Julian, thanks for joining. Okay, so this track, here it's called Broken Bell because the working title was Broken Bell. Originally this was a track that was intended for a dance piece. There was a couple of body poppers and I was given a brief. In fact, that was the brief I was given for initially, was can you compose something with a kind of broken bell sound? So I immediately went into my libraries. I brought up some sort of bell-like sounds such as marimbas and crotales, gritty bells, broken bells. This must be like a synth. Yeah, different synth instruments, dreamy bells, morphing bells, more marambas, glockenspiels, high marambas, vibes. So I brought out a bunch of those kind of sounds and just played with them and improvised. And the first idea I had was to have a kind of, well, let's just listen to the first segment. Just an introduction there with the bell motif. And that was just the initial idea I had, was just like, okay, I want bells and strings and what kind of groove can I have? And I just thought of like a just like a slow, because it was supposed to be the beginning of the show. In fact, this track was a reject in the end. It wasn't used, and they used a different kind. We went in a different direction, but this was an interesting first sort of avenue. And then I was able to sort of repurpose this for my own, for my own benefit, and change it and compose it exactly how I wanted to in the end, and then release it. But for the initial purpose, the idea was to create an atmosphere, and like, a bit of atmospheric, sort of some strings underneath, etc., and then go into a theme. I had no clue what I was going to do from there onwards, so let's carry on. You can hear there lots of sparkly sounds. If we sort of start separating them, you can hear the marimba there, bit of glockenspiel, the play between them. Then you've also got vibes, you've got underpinning synths, a high part, digital bells here, boom. Bring in some strings, and a sort of panned across. Bass. Oh, I quite like that low bass as well. I can't remember which bass it is. I've got two basses. I've got a small bass and I got a big bass. This is the big bass, and this is the two of them together, the two basses. And now that was the revolutionary moment for me. Okay, fine. I had an idea up to that point, just to start off with a da-na-na-na-na. That's all I had, and I had no idea what I was going to do until I found that wonderful synth. Where is it? Not this one. This is another synth. Yeah, that's just an atmospheric background synth. I'm looking for my lead synth, which is... It's not that one either. Oh yeah, it is that one. Okay, yeah. Now this is on my instrument called the Diva. It's a powerful Uhe, is the company, synth. And the wonderful thing about the Diva is that you've got millions of sounds and presets, and they're easily searchable. You know, you've got tags and different kinds of, if you want a bass synth, lead synth, polysynths, you can go through these lists. And you can also look up via these tags if you want modulated, percussive, soft attack, bright, dark, constant, clean, dirty, natural, synthetic, etc. So I found this quite a useful tool because I've got a bunch of synths. In fact, even in this project, I've got my repro synth down here as well, which is a different type of synth. That's also Uhe. But I find the Diva particularly useful and a powerful engine, very good synths. And I find it, with these tags, it's sometimes easier to find exactly the kind of sound you're looking for because you have a sound in your head and then it can take ages going through all the libraries until you find something that, you know, slightly approximates it. You search a bit further, get a bit closer. With this one, it might only take 10 minutes as opposed to an hour. But anyway, because there's so many, like millions of sounds. But this sound I came across by accident. If we just move over here. I came across that sound by accident. I thought, oh, that's so beautiful. Just like butter, you know? So, I started just improvising with that originally, just to send an idea to the person that had contracted this kind of piece. And that was just the first thing that came out. It was an improvisation. So that's a little introduction thing. And then later, again, that's part of the improvisation. And that became the whole theme, which is wonderful. You know, it's just messing around, improvising some notes. Came up with that. And in that particular sound, I just thought it sounded so good. So that was the piece right there, you know. And then I just built it from there. This is still improvisation. I didn't yet know it was going to become the whole piece. Okay, now we've built it up a bit more. And we bring in the beat. And of course, to go from one state to another, I often use some kind of segue or some tools to get from one place to another, in the sense of you know, transformation. You don't just want to go from dry to wet or just from night to day. You want to have a transition. So by way of transition, I use some backward pianos, for example, and a reverse cymbal. There's the cymbal at the same time as the piano, and that's very easy. You just go blonk in the right chord that you want, export it as a WAV file, bring it back, flip it, reverse it, and you've got your backward piano, but which I use a lot in a lot of my pieces, because it's such a great way to come into the theme. Also, it kind of works quite well in this kind of genre. So let's carry on a bit. So you've got the main theme there. Still improvised, but I find that a really compelling sort of simple line, you know, with everything else going on around it. And that is the hook. I just love that hook. So simple but so effective. And just with that sound, it just sounds lush. Anyway, let's have a look at what's padding it. So basically you've got all the sparkly sounds. If I kind of, well, let's reveal them one by one. So you got the crotales, bells, dreamy bells, marimba, glockenspiel. So you've got those kind of plinky plunky sounds, and then of course you've got all the string stuff as well happening. If we like solo some strings, these are fantastic libraries, Albion 1 from Spitfire and other ones, and the VSL, the Vienna Symphonic Library. You know, some violas, totally cheating, but in themselves they add, you know, musicality. They have a musicality that adds well to the, you know, lends to the track. And especially in this kind of electronic music, it doesn't really matter that it's not a real orchestra, but you just have a few strings there underpinning the kind of, well, kind of the groove, the kind of the pulse. Okay, let's continue. We can solo some instruments. You also have some electric keyboards as well. And you've got these keys. You got, oh, this was a wonderful discovery. This is also a synth. I used it as a percussive instrument. But if you listen to the track, how that comes in, it sounds fantastic. It's a percussion, but it's a synth. So it's a very simple but very nice sort of mesh of the backing track, or the sort of the accompaniment, which is the bells and stuff going dum dum da ba da bum bum ba dum dum da ba da bum bow 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 bow, and that sort of syncopated lead line. Also, not forgetting the basses that you have here, where the basses, the two basses playing off each other. So when the beat comes in, where's the beat? So basically that beat is... yeah, it's basically an electronic dubstep style kind of beat underpinning it, and then with the HSE can, which is the percussive synth, boom, boom. Then you've also got some drums, cymbals and stuff. Hang on, let's just, so that, oh, they're quite low in the mix, but they're subtle. What else have you got? That's a nice sort of synth sound as well. So that's the kind of rhythm there, the groove. Then the idea is that you have all these sounds around and coming in, intermingling with each other in a kind of organic way. It's not super produced in like bars of four. Something comes in, then something else comes in. It's all sort of mingling and it's all interacting constantly throughout. Well, I love that sort of playing with synths like that because it's a mono synth. When you hold down a note and then hold another note, it sort of cuts out the first note and it sort of warbles between the two notes when you do like a trill like that. Just love that sound. With that beat. It's kind of fun. For me, this sort of harkens back to my passion for ambient music back in the 90s when I was like studying in college, in art college. We used to listen to a lot of things like William Orbit, Banco de Gaia, Orb. I remember going to their concerts, Jamiroquai, that kind of stuff as well. All kinds of, Lenny Kravitz. I just remember listening to a bunch of stuff at college, a lot of jazz, a lot of John Coltrane. But one sort of branch of music I listened to a lot was this kind of stuff as well. William Orbit, and before then Jean-Michel Jarre, Vangelis I was into, and in this period as well, Ortec, kind of ambient style. It was quite big at the time. Beats were still relatively new, this style of beats anyway in the 90s. So it's kind of going back to that, and also you can hear a lot of my love for Vangelis and electronic music, the way that, the masterful way that people like Vangelis and Jean-Michel Jarre used synths in such an incredible way. I still go back and listen to their recordings from the 80s and early 90s and I'm still like dumbfounded. Wow, how did you get such incredible sound? And the way they're mixed and produced together in such a beautiful way, like a symphony, like an orchestra. So that's kind of the idea behind this as well, trying to get kind of a little bit that kind of style of music. Okay, then we get to the sort of breakdown or the midsection or the bridge. So I explored the theme. And then I sort of resolve it, and at that point I think, okay, what the hell am I going to do now? And I had no clue what I was going to do for the midsection. So I was kind of pondering it. And it's very easy to just sort of jump into something and go into a completely different idea or do a key change or do something like that. Sometimes I do the first idea that comes into my head, but in this case I was like, no, I want this to be a cohesive piece. I don't want to just run with the first thing that comes into my head. I want to sort of ponder it a little bit, and I want to find something that is just right for this piece, and that's exactly what I found. But by listening to it again from the beginning, so this was the introduction that I'd built up, just a simple atmospheric pads, bell. There you go, it's all there. Na, 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 na. Just those few notes there at the beginning. And it goes in, but just from that, it suddenly occurred to me, perfect, that's it. And then I came with this idea of this midsection. So you see, it's based on the introduction basically, and so that works perfectly. It's a callback to the introduction, and then it's a whole section within itself. Then of course you've got chord changes. For me, it's kind of quite a standard chord progression for a kind of a midsection. And the reason that is that that kind of chord progression just works so well. Love that beat. And then building it up. So let's see what we've done there. So we've got quite a lot of tracks there. We've got basically, you've got your pads, you've got your bells, but then of course we needed, oh listen, that sounds quite out of tune, that bell. It's quite delicious, but you hardly hear that in the mix. But when you sort of separate it, that's just some of the strings. Now here come the rest of the strings. And that came later, so these strings came a bit after. So first you've got the idea of just setting it up. So once you've got that set up, then it occurred to me later to do this with the strings. Da, 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 and make it a bit more dramatic. So that's what these strings are doing here. And they're incredibly dramatic and sort of gritty, and again using my orchestral libraries, but I just find them so good. Just as an instrument in themselves, they're so fun to play with, you know, and you use the faders to get the expression that you want. Coming back in there, then back into the theme but with a key change. Again, you can hear more backward cymbals coming in, transitioning into the new section. You can't have the backward keys or piano though, because it would be the wrong note. You're in one note, and it goes to another note, so I couldn't use a backward piano there, but I could use the backward shimmer of the backward cymbal and things like that, and synths building up, and then boom into the new beat. With obviously a slight break in the beat there to give it a little bit more sense of drama there. The basses are working quite a lot there, underneath everything. Just two synth basses. Oh, and those are nice. The wow, 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 wow. I don't know where those are. Maybe it's the repro? What's this? That's one of them. And then these ones, what are these? Oh, these are fantastic. These are from a library called Albion's Solstice, which is also Spitfire, and These are old sort of hurdy-gurdy and accordion style and bellows style instruments, like traditional instruments. So I think this is some kind of hurdy-gurdy. You can hear the kind of... So that adds a lot of texture to it, and this comes in here later on. Very, very subtle in the mix, you can hardly hear it. But it gives a little bit of texture there. Damn, I want to bring it up in the mix now. I want to do a new mix and a new master. Okay, so, but you've also got, there was these other sounds that I really liked. Was it? This. Yeah. Now I've doubled up the main synth, which is giving the main melody. So you got two playing off each other, which is really nice. One coming in there. And that was a nice feature that came later. This is the part that I really enjoy, when the whole track is more or less down and then you add the little extra special effects, like in this case these strings and horns that come in later. And of course with the horns, that's delicious. Again, a bit of drama. Clarinets and woodwind. Oh, I forgot about that. There's a clavinet as well. Just to give a bit more of a growl to the low end, I guess. So that kind of gives it a nice sort of orchestral touch for me, on top of all that beautiful, the synths, the beats, all the electronic stuff. To have some strings, some warm horns and woodwind, for me it really makes a beautiful mix. And it's about creating a kind of lush soundscape in the end. Yeah, so that was the idea, because that's one thing I really enjoy, is layering loads of sounds on top of each other and hearing this beautiful sort of complex web of sounds and noises and different panning of instruments. For me it really is interesting for the brain, you know, you can feel your neurons firing up as you try to listen and pinpoint all these things, and as the ear hears a new sound coming in just over there and something over there, it's sort of, I know it feels stimulating and relaxing at the same time. This was an incredibly complex track to mix because it's got 53 tracks in total. Just the the sort of sparkly sounds, crotales, broken bells, all of those are just like probably 10 tracks alone. Then there's another 10 string tracks, a couple of bass ones, a bunch of synths, and then 3 or 4 with the beats and the cymbals and stuff. So yeah, this was a tough one to mix, and you know, originally I had a mix I was fairly happy with, but as I listened to it, I'm like, oh, where did that sound go? Or things would disappear, and I want to bring it out again, but then of course you change one thing, it affects everything else. So I was constantly mixing this for like probably a month, and I ended up with 5 different masters. I would master it, and then I'd go back again to the mix, change something, come back, master it again, listen again, live with it for a couple of days, and then go back and change something again. So I ended up with like 5 different masters until I was happy with the final one. But in the end, it is what it is. You know, I enjoy creating that kind of thing with lots of layers. That's what I'm into, and I enjoy listening to it. I hope some other people do too. I don't know if it's going to be your thing, but I think just the building up of layers and listening to the interplay of instruments is kind of fun in itself. You know, pinpointing, you got the beat, you got the strings, you got the marimbas and the vibes, and then the synths. The synths are beautiful. The synths these days, I love it, especially this. That hook, that got me. As soon as I did that as an improvisation, I thought, that's it, that's the hook. Anyway, I think I'll put the whole thing at the end of this video so you can listen to it all the way through. Thanks for watching. That was Crystalline Symphony. It's going to be coming off a new album coming out summer 2022. Which I'm thinking of calling Ambient Explorations in Wonderland, because that's what it was like for me. It was like exploring these ambient ideas, ambient style electronic music ideas, and just having fun in my own wonderland of ideas and free time, which I had for a while, and just enjoying myself, just having a lot of laughs, a lot of fun with my orchestras and synths. And yeah, so anyway, I hope you like it. I hope someone out there likes it. And if not, I guess I'll just keep doing anyway, because that's what I love doing. Thanks for watching. I'm Julian. See you next time. Cheers.